Shalom Evracha, welcome to the weekly Shiur of Zera Shimshon. It's Thursday, Parshas Miketz, Yomi Dalad de Chanukah, Tov Shian Pei Vav. We all know that the Yom Tov of Chanukah has a lot to do with Bitochen. The mitzvah of Ner Chanukah is to light as it's getting dark, Mishatishka HaChama, which represents the idea when there's chashchus and there's darkness, we have to find the Oir Hashem. Even though it looks bleak and even though things don't look promising, it's Rabban Biad Ma'atim, it's me, my Dehorim, Zedi Bad Oiske Serasecha. We find the light in the darkness. Kohen is Gematria 75, which is Gematria Bitochen. The Kahanim, Aridei Kanecha Gdoishim, they brought us this midah of Bitochen. When it's choshech al panei sahoim, when it's shichu yevonim etaneim shel Yisrael b'gzeirei seihem, the situation looked hopeless. It looked pathetic. It looked like there's no chance of revival. Nevertheless, the Kahanim of Beis Chashmonoi found inside themselves this koach habitochen against all odds. L'malo miderech hateva, not to despair, not to give up. And this is the secret of the Yom Tov of Chanukah, and this is the mitzvah sayoim, to be mechazik oneself in the darkness, to find the Oir Hashem, to say Mila Hashem Eloi, and not to be overwhelmed, overtaken, and impressed by the chitzonius of this world that sometimes indicates otherwise. That's the essence of the Yom Tov of Chanukah. In the light of this, let's learn a piece of Zera Shimshon in Parshas Miketz, Ois Yud Gimel, that gives us a lesson in the Midas HaBetochen, and there's a chus of learning this piece in Zera Shimshon, especially in these days of Chanukah, these days of Nisim, these days of finding the light. We'll be Zochim with Hashem to see tremendous Yeshuas and Refuas and Bracha and Ashpos Tovos for us and for the entire Klal Yisrael. Ois Yud Gimel. Vayoyme Yisrael lo mahari oisem li. Yaakov Avinu says to Shavatim, why did you do bad to me? Amr Levi says the Medrash. Amr Chama Bachnina. Ma'olam lo yatsa dava shel batala mipi Avinu Yaakov. Never did Yaakov say a word that wasn't accurate, that wasn't correct. Elakach Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Eibishter responded to what Yaakov says. Lama hari oisem. Why did you do bad to me? That you told Yosef that you have a brother and you have a father. Says the Eibishter, Ani oiseg lahamlech b'noi b'Mitzrayim. What are you talking about? I am in the process of making Yosef the king. V'hiu oiman. He's saying, Lama hari oisem li. You did bad to him. That Omar. This is pshat in the pasuk. Lama toime Yankov. Yankov, why did you talk like this? Nistra darki me Hashem. Is the ways of Hashem hidden from you? That's the Medrash. It looks like from the Medrash that it was a taina. It was a complaint against Yaakov Avinu for talking this way. If so, the words of the Medrash seem to contradict each other. It starts off to say that Yaakov never spoke a word that's not appropriate, that's not correct, that went levatala. If that's the case, so how come Yaakov said these words? If it's trying to say even this time, his words weren't for nothing. It looks like here his words were said incorrectly, so to speak. Why is the Navi giving Musa? So the Hemshach of the Medrash implies that Yaakov Avinu said something that wasn't correct. The beginning of the Medrash implies that Yaakov Avinu never said a word that's not correct. So how do you reconcile these two parts of the Medrash, and what's the pshat? Zog the heilige Zera Shimshon v'yesh loima. Let me tell you the pshat. Our Zayde Yaakov Avinu never lost his bitochen. Ashrei shekel Yaakov be'ezroi Yisrael Hashem elakav. Midas HaBetochen has to do with Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov resembles Midas HaBetochen. Shliyatza dava shel batala mipiv. Never. He never thought for a second that it was the Shvatim that caused him this aggravation. How can that be? If something is not decreed in Shemayim, nobody can harm you. What did Yaakov Avinu mean when he said to the Shvatim, why did you do bad to me? Lomei hare oisem li. The Kavanas Yaakov Hoysa, listen. Sha'amra al Pasuk, the Pasuk says, when a person doesn't put a maika, he doesn't put a fence, and somebody falls off, says the Pasuk, Ki yipoil hanoifel mimenu. The person that was anyway supposed to fall will fall off. Nobody falls off if it's not supposed to fall. As we know from the Chazon Ish, somebody was afraid to go on an airplane because sometimes planes have accidents and people, Chas v'shalom, pass away. Said the Chazon Ish, aeroplanen fallen nicht. Airplanes don't fall, people fall. And Hashem orchestrates that these people should be on the plane in order that when the plane falls, they should fall. But Tachlis is the people. Planes don't fall, people fall. But nevertheless, there is a rule called Megalglin Choiv Aridechayev. A person has to put a maika, even though the person that falls off would have fallen anyway, but you shouldn't be the cause. That's what the pasuk says. Ki yipoil hanoifel mimenu. Roy is actually yipoil. The person that falls is a faller. He was supposed to fall anyway. Elash megalglin choiv aridechayev. Hashem causes it that this person should be the cause, not the cause that without it wouldn't happen. But through him, he orchestrated this. He fell off his roof. That's Yipol Anoifel Mimenu. Vama Yankov, Yodai Tiki Bevada Kodesh Baruch Hu Gazar. And no doubt in my mind, says Yankov Avinu, every ounce of pain, every ounce of aggravation, every ounce of tsar is calculated to the T. Nevertheless, says Yankov, why was it that you were the ones that Hashem chose to bring the tsar through you? Lama hare oisem li. What did you do wrong that you were the vehicle, you were the medium to bring me this tsar? Yaakov Avinu wasn't upset at them that they caused them aggravation. The aggravation would have happened anyway. But I want to understand, how come you were the vehicle? What did you do wrong that Hashem Yisbarach chose you, that you should be the ones to bring me this aggravation? Zehu lama hare oisem li. Lama gam atem chiyavtem atzmechem lamokoim. B'ki v'shvil zen is galgal al yetchem hara azois. You must have done some avera that Hashem chose you, that you should be the ones to give me the aggravation. He knew that, of course, it's from Hashem. Golus is coming because of a punishment. That Yaakov Avinu did something or whatever was the cause of this oynush, but nevertheless, they were the ones that were used. But what Yaakov Avinu didn't understand was the inakin. It's not true. The golus is not a punishment. Hagolus hoyle tov lehem. The golus prepared them for Matan Torah. The golus was there for their benefit. They went through the cleansing process in Mitzrayim in order to attain tremendous madregas, get Matan Torah, to get Eretz Yisrael. It's not like Yaakov thought that there was some Avera that must have caused this. On the contrary, the Golus is something very beneficial for us. It's because we need the Golus. That was the mistake that Yaakov made. But Chas v'Shalom, not to think for a second that Yaakov is blaming them for the aggravation. That is kfira. That's not the life of Yaakov Avinu. This is the musa given to Yaakov. But the words of Yaakov are sublime. The words of Yaakov are heilig. The words of Yaakov are a lesson for us. By the brisbane absorim, Hashem gives the Eitzel Avram Shivar Golus Latavis Yisrael. Our Zeta Avram chose Golus. Like Hoyle Lachish Klal. The Yaakov Avinu shouldn't have been bothered. Shagolus Yeler Alehem. Amakadosh Baruch Hu. That's Mashat in the Medrash. And he oisik lahamlech below Mitzrayim. I'm giving Yosef Melucha Mitzrayim K'dei Shiyah Simile Yisrael Shagolus Hule Tavasam. The Oyman Nistra Darki. He thinks it's bad. That's the mistake of Yaakov Avinu, but not to think that Yaakov missed any madrega in betachin chas v'shalom asher shekel Yaakov Ezroi yishlach Ezra chamikodesh. And we say there Yisagev Hashem Elokei Yaakov. Yaakov is the one that gives us the strength in Golus when it gets dark. Yaakov tikkun tfilas arvis. Yaakov helps us when it's Mayim, when it's night. And this is the Ner Chanukah that illuminates the darkness. When we understand and we believe and we have the betachin that it's not about might, it's not about strength, it's not about teva, it's about understanding the Eibishter orchestrates everything and everything is cheshvan to the T. This gives us Yemei Simcha v'Halach Chanukah. We praise and thank the Eibishter al nifleisecha v'tovesech chaleis. May the heilige zechus of the Zera Shimshon be making for us to be zeicha to lechtige Chanukah, to besuras toivas, to refuas Yeshuas, to be zeicha to Or Chodesh al Tzion Toeh. V'nizkech ilonu b'mher la'orai a good Shabbos a Freitag Chanukah in a good Chodesh. Kol Tov.